Oh, Jesus Christ, more zombie shit. City of the Living Dead is a 1980, I guess you could call it a film, by legendary Italian filmmaker Lucio Fulci, who made just a ton of stuff, but is most noted for his sorta, kinda, almost, but not quite, it's kinda complicated sequel to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, Zombie 2, also known as Zombie, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Island of the Living Dead, no not that one, this one, Voodoo apparently, and of course, that movie where a zombie fights a shark. No, seriously, a zombie fights a shark in it, check it out. Sweet, right? Well, nothing this interesting happens in City of the Living Dead, so, you know, soak it in. City of the Living Dead takes place in the spooky and apparently pretty dusty New England town of H.P. Lovecraft reference, where a priest hangs himself, for some reason, which causes the gates of hell to open. For some reason. Meanwhile, in New York, a woman holding a seance or something has a vision of the priest turning himself into an early Halloween decoration. This causes her to freak out and die. But she gets better, after some minor pickaxing, and teams up with the reporter so that they can go to the town, that they don't know the location of, and reclose the gates of hell. Somehow. There's also another guy and a girl, and they're like a psychiatrist-patient pair, but they're basically interchangeable with the first two, and they don't really do much. And there's also a pervert kid, and he's like about to fuck a blow-up doll, and he gets scared by like a Twizzler baby. Then later he gets drilled in the head, but that's a legit murder and doesn't really have to do with the whole priest thing. Oh, and there's zombies. Well, maybe they're zombies, they could be spirits, or demons, or just people rolled in oatmeal and tar, but I'm pretty sure they're zombies, they have the basic qualities of zombies. Except that they can teleport. And I don't mean like Jason Voorhees walking really slowly but still somehow able to catch up with someone running at full speed teleport. I mean like, boop. So how do you feel about that intro? A little confused? Not really sure why there's a bunch of parts that don't really go with each other and then it just kind of stopped for no reason? Well, now you know how we feel.
There's the contact. She's just entered. Into contact. She's entered. Into contact. The contact.
Fucking Indiana Jones committing suicide here? What the fuck?
He's extremely tall.
How the
He
fuck?
doesn't look like David Carradine.
He legit hovered. Like there's no fucking... No stool, no chair. Oh, okay. Must have jumped.
I have nothing. This is the movie that I have nothing to say about. Because things just happened. Things just happened, and then it's over.
Since we finished watching it, literally the only word that comes to mind when I try and think about it as a whole is... What?
All right, it's slightly infuriating.
Slightly?
I know, you guys are trying to rush ahead to how little sense the ending made.
No, I'm trying to make...
The whole movie
doesn't make any sense.
Okay, here's the plot. A priest in Dunwich goes to the local cemetery and hangs himself. We don't know why. But he hangs himself, and somehow this causes the gates of hell to open, and the dead begin to rise.
Sort of. Very gradually.
Very, very gradually. It's a slow burn in that sense. Meanwhile, New York City, Mary, one of our main characters, is having a seance in a friend's apartment. Her friend is a psychic. They're holding a seance, and Mary has the vision of the priest killing himself, and pretty much screams / has a seizure and drops dead. Mary's dead.
I'm afraid Mary's dead.
The police arrive to investigate. Don't do much of anything.
Okay, fellas. You help us. We'll help you. What were you on? Coke? Grass? Where's the stash? Down the
You
toilet?
don't deserve any help. You're a comic book version, Sergeant.
Well, look better in your mugshot, you know.
The detective just shows up and wags his finger in their faces like, "Oh, I'm gonna find out what you're up to," and then we never see him again. Before anyone else, somehow a news reporter got wind that a person died in this apartment, and he tries to get into the apartment. He shows up, cop won't let him in. He's turned away.
It's
The good cop.
It's the only competent police officer I've ever seen in any movie.
Look, isn't there a way that maybe you and I could come to a gentleman's agreement?
You're talking into my deaf ear, pal. Now take my advice and beat it before the sergeant comes out.
Okay.
Turned away from the apartment, the reporter decides to go to the graveyard where Mary is already in a coffin. We'll pass by the fact that there was no coroner's inquest, there was no
Autopsy.
And there was no
Autopsy report, the coroner report, pictures of the crime scene. Coroner report? Criminal background records.
I don't know what the fuck he thinks he's going to find out about her from her coffin, but there it is. So he starts walking away from there, hears her, she wakes up in her coffin, she's alive.
That's probably nothing. Help, I'm buried alive. No, probably nothing. It's just the wind.
What is he struggling with? He obviously heard the thumping and her little scream.
That's the most half-assed job burying somebody.
Seriously. And then this reporter picks up a fucking pickaxe after he finally convinces himself there's somebody alive in there. After spending the last 45 minutes listening to these thuds coming from... Yeah,
pickaxe in a coffin at her fucking head.
Yeah, he picks up and the key. I will say I enjoyed the cuts and I loved her performance in this specific little scene because holy shit, that was terror on her face every time that pickaxe came through the coffin.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Stop! Stop! Just let me die!
God. Holy shit!
Like, just use the shovel, dude. Use it. It's the entire top. It's a casket. The entire top just lifts.
Yeah, it's not like
you
it's
don't have
locked.
to go mining.
The reporter rescues her, takes her back to her psychic friend's
Network.
I was trying to get there. I was trying to get to a Miss Cleo joke, but so they decide that in order to, I don't know how she gets this, but somehow she just knows that they have got to prevent the gates of hell from fully opening, which is going to happen on All Saints' Day, which is in 48 hours. So they have to get from New York to Dunwich. And
Which they can't find.
Yeah,
Which
they
they
don't
cannot
actually
find.
know where Dunwich is.
And they have to get to the priest's burial place and, I don't know, destroy his body, do something like Dracula, I don't know.
I mean, how can you be so sure?
I read the name on a tombstone.
Mr. Bell, if those gates are left open, it may be the end of humanity. We've got to try to get them shut again. At midnight on Monday, we go into All Saints' Day. The night of the dead begins then. And if the portals of hell don't get shut before, no dead body will ever be able to rest in peace again. And so the dead will rise up and take over the earth, and you've got to get to Dunwich. You must reclose those gates.
We introduce a series of characters. We have Not Beard, Beard,
Crazy lady.
Crazy Lady, Not So Crazy Lady, Kid, Kid's old-ass mom and dad, Kid's hot sister, local pederast, and local pederast's other hot girlfriend. Most of the characters that we've mentioned get killed in gruesome ways by either seeing the ghost of the priest or being torn apart by zombies, and then they themselves become zombies. Sort of the cross between zombies and ghosts.
And demons or something, and they like to
I
squeeze
mean, they're
heads.
from hell?
Yeah.
I believe Father Thomas is buried in his family tomb over there.
Guess what? It's All Saints' Day.
They fight off the zombies. They kill the priest. They re-kill the priest, and
Which takes another.
Boy, that was a long
hour and a
death
half.
scene. That was a long. That was. They impale him with a convenient cross. I mean, I guess it's a cemetery, but there's just a perfectly wooden cross underground, and it's sharp for spiking into the ground. So.
And it took about an hour and a half for him to actually die.
They get out, and there's little John John. We'll discuss John John in more detail, but I know you guys want to talk about this ending, so real quick, here it is. John runs at them, and...
Mary! No! No! No!
Rita Agostini! Fuck you! Fuck you, Rita!
Donatello, buddy! Fuck you too!
Fucking... It's an ending, and...
It's something.
Here's why it's the ending. This is... I was unable to find a citation for this. What I read, with no citation to it, but there's no other reason that I've been able to find, is that while editing, somebody spilled coffee on the film negative, and they lost the ending, and they literally had to just go with what they had left, and that's the ending. The ending is lost to time. They didn't have the time or the money to reshoot what they had lost. And so the boys... Gazandi? I don't know. But that is why you screamed.
That is... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's... Like I said, it's infuriating. It really is. And yeah, I was fine with the completely nonsensical ending until I realized that there was someone to blame, and all of it just all the rage just focused into a single point.
The two people credited with handling continuity.
No, it was only one.
There were two.
What?
There were two.
I don't know.
There
oh
were
boy.
Two.
Unless I...
Rita Agostini! Fuck you! Fuck you, Rita!
Donatello, buddy! Fuck you too! Fucking Donatello, buddy!
You saw the one name and then your fucking vision went red.
Basically.
And you became like Nick Cage and Mandy.
Nothing is explained, which is fine, so long as the actual story helps to kind of explain what's going on. And it doesn't. There's creepy spirits that pop in and out of existence kind of at will that crush the back of people's heads, and it's always crushing the back of people's heads for some fucking reason. Unless they do the eye melt stare down challenge.
Which only successfully happens once.
And then one chick gets explosively decompressed.
You know what?
Twice.
You know, I will say this. I liked that. I liked that entire sequence, that whole effect. It starting with the blood coming from the eyes, because I've never seen this movie before, so I had no idea what to expect in that scene. And then, you know, every time it closed up on this part of her face and you see the blood welling against her actual eyes, was like, oh, okay, that's really cool.
The car sex stare down vomit thing, that was really super fucking neat. You could put that in basically any film.
Which one?
You could excise them from this film.
Wait.
And it would have made absolutely no difference.
The gut puking or the brain
both
plucking?
Like every other set piece in here. They could be completely removed, and it would have made no difference. And yeah, granted, it's a cool thing. The lathe, they kind of telegraphed that from like a fucking mile away, because there's a fucking lathe, the giant spike, it's just gonna happen. And then the dad just very gradually just moving his head rather than just slamming him into it or whatever. But great set piece. eye melting thing, fantastic.
Oh, yeah, totally.
She literally pukes her guts out. Fantastic. Had nothing to do with the story.
No.
Could have
Why?
been.
Why did it happen?
Again, could have been completely excised.
Right.
It's the movie is literally just Fulci thinking up set pieces for him to set up his gore, and then they just happen.
Okay, you're on to something here. What I was thinking the whole time is there's some absolutely wonderful ideas. I'm in love with the idea that whatever the priest is, whether he's a demon or a ghost or something, seeing him causes the pressure in your body to build so suddenly and so severely that you begin to hemorrhage from your face and your insides have to come out somehow. I feel like they could have gotten the exposition we need in a couple of dropped lines. Why did the priest kill himself? We don't know. Okay, we don't know. Sometimes you just don't know shit. It's okay, fine. Whatever, make up a reason. Maybe he was satanic, and he was trying to summon something.
Maybe he was being driven by some other kind of force.
Some Lovecraftian entity that he saw that made his eyes bleed, and then he comes up...
Some kind of Dunwich horror. Ha ha!
Georgia, it's all right. It's going to be all right. It's all over now.
Yeah, I thought this was the beginning of fucking... What song is that?
Zombie 2?
No. It's Rain Man.
Not what I'd identify with Fabio Frizzi, but okay.
Right, that's the thing. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So, with all that in mind, one, no, we're not, I can't recommend this piece of shit. The thing is, I want to see it again, just to make sure that I may have missed anything in all of the disjointed bullshit that happens in the movie, but I'm too mad at it to actually want to watch the fucking thing.
You know what you did.
The thing is, though, as I'm going to be cutting this together, I'm going to end up watching the movie about 4 more times. This is going to be our last episode. I hope some of you learn fucking Vegas soon, because I'm going to hang myself in a tree by hovering, and 37 gates of hell are apparently going to open.
Now you know you're watching a Fulci film.
Me, do you? That's not the point. Just go
now I know I'm watching an Italian film.
We don't even know
what
where to
the fuck is happening?
Fox.
No. There are parts of the movie that I can appreciate, like some of the cut work, a lot of the effects I can appreciate them. I think the expelling of internal organs through the mouth was a great shot. But there's not really much there. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened in this movie. I get that there is some sort of narrative to it. I understand that there are things that happen that link other things together to try and convey some sort of a story, but the acting was horrible. The sets were just and it's just things that I didn't appreciate. I didn't enjoy the acting. I didn't enjoy this whatever sort of story there was to it that I didn't really figure out until we started discussing the movie. I just don't do it.
Oh my fucking god!
Don't tell me there's a credits scene.
Yeah, Thor and Thanos show up.
It's part of the fucking Living Dead cinematic universe.
I'm going to take a hard tack on this because I think that you guys enjoyed watching this movie. While it was happening, we might have been confused, but we were having a good time watching it, laughing with it, laughing at it, making fun of it, talking about it, all a good time. And that's what we're going for out of this. This is no Citizen Kane. We're not in this to go, oh, this is a fine film. This is like, do you want to watch this movie with some drinks and your buddies? And I say, yes. It's got people being turned inside out. It's got a drill going through a guy's head. It's got no tits. That's a mark against it. But and I liked the zombie makeup too. Actually, wasn't any great shakes, but especially the ones that were rising from they really sort of like potter's clay.
But we didn't see those until the very end.
And at the very beginning. Tease at the beginning and then at the end.
Okay.
But, I think there's a lot about this movie to enjoy if you can look past the fact that, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Who cares? This is not great literature. This is just a silly movie, and I think it's a fun time. Watching it by yourself, that I don't know about. You gotta have someone to mock it with. But, if you want to get some friends over to watch this, yeah, absolutely. I give it a recommend. Yes.
The thing is, though, you can do that with a movie that isn't garbage.
Oh my god, what have I done with my life?
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men. Amen. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna let myself get absolutely soaking wet. It's raining.